This week, I wanted to talk about relationships. A month or two ago, I had this overwhelming feeling come over me of like, why am I thinking about my ex? And so in that, I'm realizing, okay, sometimes I'm going to be called to let things go that I really love and that are good and that were not bad, because so much of my life was not bad. There was just a pull. There was a pull leading me and calling me to something different, and I had to listen. Like, it was eating me alive not to listen. What if every person and every thing that comes into your life and your journey is there on purpose to help lead you to where you were meant to be? And every single person holds a lesson or a key to that next version of you that you needed to move through and go through to shape you into the person who is meant to hold whatever's next. Hello, you guys. Welcome to this week's episode of the Expand and Evolve podcast. This week, I wanted to talk about relationships. I wanted to do a little update, lessons learned, things that I have found through navigating relationships over the last 2 or so years since I first recorded this podcast. If you want to go back to the very beginning, I did episodes around relationships, like relationships I had been through, lessons I had learned in the relationships that I had been in. I was navigating just a new separation and like life, just approaching life that was going to be completely new and different. Something that I will say about the separation then and how I felt about dating then and relationships then was I kind of feel like it felt, what's the right word for this? I feel like it felt so optimistic. Like the world was at my fingertips, that there were so many people and so many potentialities and so many ways that like it could work, and like who was I going to end up with, and like who is this person, and like what would it be like dating, and like who's the person that I'm going to end up being with. And it was like so exciting, to be honest. So yes, scary in the sense of like leaving something that you thought you would spend the rest of your life, the person you thought you would spend the rest of your life with. Scary in navigating like the grief of it and the separation and ending a marriage and the impact on the kids and like all of that emotional turmoil. Like, yes, all of that was hard. But I feel like when I had started this podcast, I'd already kind of moved through a lot of that and acceptance for the fact that I was going to be going through a separation and ending a marriage and all the things. And so I actually had excitement to be single kind of for the first time in my life and navigate this world. And so over the last 2 years, I have remained single. There's been kind of like 2 people that have popped into my life like that are the most relevant situations and circumstances or situationships or whatever you want to call them. Like they never went into like full-blown relationships, but I still feel like I learned a lot from them and learned a lot about myself. And just recently, I feel like I started to notice things about myself in a really big way. And so I kind of wanted to share just some of that because I think that it's really helpful as I reflect on the last 2 years. Like something will probably stand out to one of you that's helpful or like relatable. And something that I'm noticing right now, because it was about a month ago, okay? A month or two, I don't remember. A month or two ago, I had this overwhelming feeling come over me of like, why am I thinking about my ex-husband? Like, why is that showing up as like something just was there, okay? Because like when we separated, like I thought there was absolutely not a single chance I would ever reconsider being together. And then all of a sudden out of nowhere, like a month ago, it showed up. And I was like, this is really weird. Like, why is this showing up? Where is this coming from? And what I can kind of like truly see it as was like, he showed up for me in a really big way. And it meant so much that it made me be like, wait, like, should I be with this man? And I don't think it was that, but it was like the first time I've had a guy really show up for me in the last 2 years that like meant something, if that makes sense. And not because like no guy does, it's just like I haven't even really been dating. Does that make sense? And so like to feel a man do something, I was like, that is such a nice feeling. Like as a woman, if you're in relationship and you're like with a man, like it's really nice. Like as a woman, when someone does something for you, at least for me, I'm like, this meant so much to me. And it made me like reconsider everything. And so what I kind of noted about myself today, that's all like past. And I'm like, wait, why was I thinking that? No, I don't actually believe that. No, I don't actually feel that. But what I noticed today was I was like, you know what I think it is? I think at the core, I have I don't think I have a good relationship with the concept of divorce. And so I don't want to be labeled divorced. And so I think because of that, I go through this like weird Like, I wish it could just work, and I wish we could just be together, and I wish that that was the partnership that I was meant to be with for the rest of my life, and I wish he could just become the person that I feel I need in relationships so that we don't have to go through that. But it's like, is any of that love? No. So it's like, I just have this weird thing about divorce that I don't want to be divorced, is what I would think and see it as, because I don't like the negative connotation. And so it's almost like I've been trying to rediscover a new word, like a new way to say it and call it, because I feel like it's it's deemed negative, where I'm like, is it really negative though? For a lot of people, it can actually be really positive and like a good thing. And that's where I feel like I've navigated like this like hold up and not wanting to be divorced, because I'm like, I don't think I really like that word. Another thing that I noticed about myself, it was just today, I was reflecting on it, and I was like, I think deep down, I still like held this hope that it could be different. I held this hope that all of a sudden he would like show up and really see me and want to shift and like want to make it work, if I'm really honest. And I think because that hasn't happened, there's this part of me that has to realize like that's been an underlying thing I didn't even know was there. Like, I think I assumed it wasn't, but if I really identify it, it's like, no, it's been there. I think it's been there the whole time. And essentially it's like there's that's almost like waiting energy, because without me even realizing it, no, I'm not holding my life, no, I'm not waiting for that to happen, but at the root, it's like there was a piece of me still holding on that it could be different, and a piece of me holding on and wishing that he would do something or make an initiative or like take a step or do something to shift it. And I think in just even saying that out loud right now is like, dang, like I've been waiting and I need to, even though I've done cord cuttings and even though I felt like I had let it go and even though I felt like it was completely severed and tied, I feel like there was a piece of me still holding on. And that little piece is likely why, how could someone new truly that I'm meant to be with come in if I'm still holding on to like the potential of that ever one day being an option? And so I feel like I've really been navigating this. And this is kind of something that I feel like I've been learning and really sitting in, is the duality and the difference of uh being clarity, like having making a decision and being decisive with full clarity, and on the other side of that, being open. So this is something I feel like I've been navigating, of like the world, these two worlds that are so, I want to be open to all potentialities. I want to be open to how anything could happen. And I want to be so decisive and clear in what I want. And I feel like in me navigating this, and I'm going to bring this into masculine and feminine energies too, because I feel like this impacted me in the last like person I was seeing, was that because I was trying to remain so open to possibilities, I also wasn't being 100% clear and decisive in what I truly wanted. And so in me like playing with these two things, where I'm like, okay, how do you remain open to all possibilities while still remaining clear on what you really want? And I feel like I've been having to try to articulate like, what is clear? Because if you were to describe a human that you're like, this is the type of person, this is how I want them to look like, I'm like, does that, at the core of how I feel, does it actually matter? And so do I stay clear and decisive on that? Or is that something that I completely let go and that piece doesn't matter, but there are aspects that I need to be 100% clear and decisive on? And does this make sense? Because it's like I started having this like, okay, but I want to be open to all possibilities and all potentialities because I trust in like God's plan and where I'm going, and that like, like there's a greater blueprint and plan for your life than what you can see right now. And so I trust that so much. And so it's almost like not like someone else has control of my life, but I trust my higher self who like knows this whole path of life that I'm on. I trust that person. I trust that version of me to lead me to exactly where I need to go, to be exactly who I need to be, to meet the people I need to meet in order to make this life the life that I'm meant to live. I trust that, like with everything in my body and soul. And so I have to navigate that sometimes of like, how clear and decisive do I need to be if life's going to flow exactly where it needs to flow anyways? But then if you're the creator of your own life, you have to be clear and decisive to show what you really want, because you'll always get what you really want if you're clear. To get where I'm like, whoa, like this is like such an interesting thing to navigate. And what I just realized right now through saying that is I'm like, okay, I think I need to actually, this is where I love doing these podcasts, where I'm like talking, I'm almost like teaching myself at the same time. But just as an example, like, okay, if deep down I really wished he would have shown up for me or something would have been different, I need to acknowledge that first with myself, to be like, okay, this is what you really wanted. This is what you wanted deep down. It's not happening. Okay, so if you're being blocked or it's not happening, like, that's okay. Acknowledge that that was the thing that you really wanted. But if it's not meant to be that, then like, what is it that you do want? Because I can't keep holding on and waiting for something that like is probably, it's never like, I really don't think it's meant to happen. Um, and so it's, for me, it's like releasing that completely and being like, okay, that was the perfect thing and the perfect life that you imagined and the way that you hoped that it would go, but it's not going to go that way because it doesn't make sense for like your life and your evolution and who you're meant to become. And so like, I get it. Holy shit, I'm getting it. I'm getting, you know, when you talk and then you get a download, I'm getting it because I sat right here before and she kept telling me it's right there for you, but not until you're ready to give up your whole, like your life as you know it and give up your old life, essentially, is what she said to me. And I remember being like, but I already have. Like, I'm not married anymore. We're split. Like, everything's done. And I'm like, no. But right now, the fact that deep down, subconsciously, I was holding on to that, I hadn't let it go. So I'm going to be doing a little ritual for myself tonight. But just to acknowledge, like, yeah, I hadn't let it go. I hadn't fully let it go. And if I want to step into that, it's like, again, trusting that higher self and that version of me so much that I understand that I have to lean into that. And like, yeah, it's scary and you have your comfort zone, you have the things that you love, and like, not everything has to be bad to need to let it go. So it's like, is he a great person? And I'm just using a relationship, but this could be a job, it could be a career, it could be a person, it could be a house, it could be anything. Just because you're letting something go doesn't mean it's bad. It just might mean that there's something more aligned for you. And what if not everything before had to be bad? Like, I'm just finding in relationships so much, people are like, oh, and I picked this person was wrong. And like, what was wrong with me? Like, what if none of it's wrong? What if every person and every thing that comes into your life and your journey is there on purpose to help lead you to where you were meant to be? And every single person holds a lesson or a key to that next version of you that you needed to move through and go through to shape you into the person who is meant to hold whatever's next. Let that be a relationship, let it be a job, let it be a career path, let it be a trip, like let it be whatever it is in your life. Like, sometimes you need these experiences to lead you to that next thing. Okay. And so in that, I'm realizing, okay, if I really want that and I trust that higher level version of myself, sometimes I'm going to be called to let things go that I really love and that are good and that were not bad, because so much of my life was not bad. There was just a pull. There was a pull leading me and calling me to something different. And I had to listen. Like, it was eating me alive not to listen. And so I needed to lean into that. Anyways, so in the last 2 years, what I've kind of found since being single for the first time in my life, dating, talking to people, all the things, and in these last few months that I haven't been talking to anyone pretty much at all, is coming back to this openness and clarity thing and being decisive while also remaining open to all potentialities. And what I have realized is that there's things for me that I need to be, that I know matter so much. I'm unwilling to even be open to something that doesn't have that. And I think that's where it's like, yes, you want to remain open and have really firm, clear, I don't even like the word boundaries. I feel like it's overused, but like things that you know matter to you so much. This is where like getting to know yourself is so important. And I'm starting to really understand the value of that on a whole other level, because what could be important to one person doesn't need to be important to you. But what is important and makes your heart feel like safe, heard, understood, appreciated, loved, cared for? Like, what are those things for you? And those have to be your non-negotiables. And it doesn't have to be a lot. That's where I'm realizing, like, okay, my core concepts, I need to rewrite a new list. But I know for me, like, I need depth in conversation. I need depth in how we reach each other. I need that person to be caring, like really caring and able to show it. So, you know, like, yes, you care about me, but I feel it and I know it because you are so comfortable in feeling love within yourself. You're not afraid to show love to me. And like those things for me are so important. Another thing I'm realizing too, like through dating and all of this and like being open to different people, is I think teenage Carly had to like live a little in the beginning, where it was like that young version of me that never really dated and never really got that experience of going after what I really wanted. I think like 13, 14, 15-year-old me needed to have some fun. And that was the me who was picking guys who are a little like young, if that makes sense. Not young age wise, but like young maturity wise. And I didn't realize it because they're obviously men and they present as men. And so you think like, oh, whatever, like we're getting along great. We're having so much fun. And it's like, that was like the lightness in me. That's like, oh, it's just light and it's fun. And like, we'll see where it goes. Okay. Well, I was acting that because dating was new and I was open to anything. And it's like, it's just fun. Like, don't take it so serious. Like, see what happens. And so it's like, of course, that's the type of people I attracted, was like the let's see what happens type people. And so it's like, but I was in that energy. And so I look back and I'm like, okay, well, deep down, I want a long-term relationship. I want to find my life partner. I want to find the person I'm going to spend the rest of my life with. But like in that season, I didn't even know who that was. I thought I knew, but I didn't know. And now I feel like over the last 2 years, it's like, it's allowed me to be like, ooh, like this is real important to me. And like, I'm not afraid to show up boldly in who I am. Where when I first was exiting my marriage, I think there was so much around like masculine and feminine and making sure you're not too masculine because then you'll in fact attract feminine. And if you're too feminine, then you're gonna attract a masculine, and like trying to like navigate like how do I be more feminine to attract the most masculine because I want a really masculine guy. And it was like all of this knowledge, okay, that was like in my mind, and I'm trying to navigate it, and I'm trying to understand it, and I'm trying to integrate it and then be that to attract the type of person that I really want. And when you're really self-aware, you're really aware of like how everything you do impacts another person, and like every action has an equal reaction, whatever. And so I feel like in that, also, I feel like my camera's really close and I don't know why it's sitting so close. So if this episode ends up being really weird and I'm really close, I'm sorry. But in those realizations and like learning and sitting with it, as uncomfortable as it was, because ultimately 2 years ago, like I was like, I can't wait to find my person and like be with this best relationship that I know exists. And then it's like, no one comes for a while that you're like thinking is going to work. You could get down and out. But right now, I feel the best I ever have about being single because I feel like I'm finally stepping into me 100%. And something that I feel like I thought I knew myself and I thought I would remain myself in relationship. But in the beginning of relationship, what I found was like I was giving up my power because I'm like, I don't want to act too, like not even show too much of myself. Like, how would I word this? I didn't want to come off masculine by being really direct and decisive and clear on what I was looking for and everything about me, because I was like still being like flirty and fun and like not trying to lead, if that makes sense. And I was afraid if I said with clarity everything I really wanted and like the deepest parts of me, that probably that I was afraid they wouldn't be met. I don't really know why I didn't do this, but like let's just take the last kind of like situationship relationship thing into account. When I reflect back, it's like because I had it in my head, men lead. And if I take the leadership role, it means that I'm acting like a man. And I never want to attract someone who drops into their feminine around me ever again, because that doesn't work. And I'm burnt out and exhausted. I don't want to do that. I want a man who's actually going to show up and be there and add value to my life and all of the things and like be able to help me in some way. Right. Anyways, I feel like because I was so like thinking about that, I wasn't showing up as myself. Like 100%, I did not show up 100% as myself. In the first dates, like, was I myself? 100%. When we spent more time together, though, I was like, well, you don't want to lead to like, I don't know. What do you want to do? I don't know. Like acting. And I'm like, that is not me. That's not me at all. I know exactly what I want to do. Sometimes I get a little like ditzy, whatever. And I think that's normal around a guy who you like you're like, I'll just do whatever you want because you're a little love drunk. But at the same time, I'm like, was I really clear in those moments where I started to feel like, did I actually 100% speak up? No, because I didn't know. It's so weird when you're dating for the first time. It's like, how much do you really say early on? And now I've realized like you say all of it. You say exactly what you're thinking all the time. Like if we're learning to get to know each other, it's like, oh yeah, this like kind of felt a little bit weird to me. Like we should talk about it. Because it's like you're learning to get to know someone and communicate. Like you should be doing that in dating and seeing where it goes rather than like avoiding the big shit that is like piling up that you're starting to notice and see and be like, we're just going to have fun now and like chit chat. Like, no, like I'm looking for a husband. So like we should be having those really real conversations early on to know like, are you a good fit for me or not? And I think that's something that we hold back on because we don't want to be seen as like too much or too serious or too whatever. And I'm like, no, that's something I would do very differently in getting to know people in the future, is not doing the like, it's like, if I'm going to spend time with you, I need to know that it makes sense. And just, you know what I mean? Anyways, so I feel like that's something that I can really reflect on and notice, is I was so in my head thinking about like masculine and feminine and things that I was learning that I didn't show up 100% as myself. And I was being myself, but I wasn't being like this is the way I was explaining it to a friend the other day. I was like, in all areas of my life, like if I'm coming on this podcast, for example, I'm clear, I'm direct, I know what I'm talking about in certain instances, right? And I'm like, I'm going to come here, I'm going to say this, and this is how I feel, and this is how I think, and I'm not thinking about what I'm saying, I'm just saying it because it's what I think. Same thing in a friendship, same thing in anything. I would never be overthinking or like putting thought into sharing too much of myself. And in the beginning, I feel like I held back a little. And so if I reflect, it's like, well, of course you got someone who was a little bit like, ooh, because I was doing that. It's like, even though I was starting to feel a lot, did I say it? No, I didn't want to seem like too much. Even though I was like, I really wanted something from him, like, okay, like book a trip, I want to see you again. I said it sort of, but like, was I like, hey, I really want this and this matters to me, or else I don't really see the point in moving forward? No, I didn't want to like be the one trying to lead the charge or like saying too much. And I'm like, I need to just be myself. Like if I was messaging with someone or talking with someone, like I wouldn't overthink this. I would just like say like, hey, are we meeting up? Are we gonna do something? Like I would just take initiative. And I feel like for sometimes, because it was like the masculine feminine thing, I didn't want to take too much initiative. Is this making sense? And so I feel like I had to kind of navigate that and learn that. And then also understanding like how something feels in my body. Like when I'm feeling like something doesn't really feel right or sit right, honoring that and understanding like there's nothing else to learn. Right away when you're feeling like, it's like, it's probably not right. And if you try to talk about it and then you can't get anywhere from there, it's like, why are you still trying to keep going? Another thing I've noticed about myself is like, I don't want to accept someone who does the bare minimum. Like I can do so much for myself already. Why do I keep tolerating and like hanging out with people who can't meet me there? And I had to realize for myself, because I used to think it made me like bitchy or a gold digger, that I was like, would say that, yeah, money does matter in a little bit, not like money matters the most, but like it matters. And I used to think that made me like bitchy. And even now, like to hold that standard where it's like, no, like bare minimum, you should be able to meet me where I'm at. Like that's not bitchy. That's just having a standard for yourself in your life. And I feel like I've really had to like own that, where before I think I was still open, like that doesn't like matter that much, you know? And I don't think I was 100% in my power. So with that, yeah, like worrying too much about how it's being received rather than like you being 100% yourself. And something that I think I had to realize too is like, no, you really have to understand and embody, like, you know, you're the prize. And your only job when a guy is saying he likes you and wants to pursue you is like, do I like you too? Like, do you have what I need for me to be willing to open up to you? And I think like that's something that I could have embodied better, rather than like the part where it's like, I wonder if he likes me. It's like, who cares? If you like you should know that like of course he does. You know? Does this make sense? Where it's like, of course he does. Of course he will. So like where like does it work for you? And I feel like there was parts of me where I got that, and then there was parts of me where I wasn't 100% firm. And I did show up and I said the things I was thinking and I did all of that. But it's like when it wasn't met, I should have known like, okay, this just isn't my guy. But I needed time to learn that. Where it was like, no, when you're not being met, that's it. That's okay. Like there's no attachment here. Like let it go. And that's something that I wasn't necessarily really good at over the last year, because I needed to understand that and learn that. And it took me some time to get it, for me to be like, oh yeah, there's nothing else to see or do here. It's like, no, you have your answer, but it's like sometimes you're looking for more information to understand that answer. And I needed to get to this place where it was like, no, this is what I want. This is what I'm looking for. And like, you're not giving me that. So like, there's no point in continuing this. And I feel like that was a big step for me, instead of remaining, because again, open to all possibilities and all potentialities. It's like, but you never know. Like, what if this happens? And I'm like, like, you never know. I'm like, look how silly that is versus like the decisiveness of like, no, like this isn't anything that's giving me what I need or want. And so therefore it's not for me. And making that clear. So it's like that clear boundary of like, yeah, no, this isn't for me. This isn't working. And then like, let's move on. Get rid of that. Instead of like leaky energy with all these people of like maybe and maybe and maybe and maybe. And it's like, no, you know it's a no. They literally don't meet the basic things that are essential. Make sense? Okay. It's still that feeling of like, but like maybe if this happened, then this would happen. And it's like, no, that's not love. Like love and is having full acceptance of the person. And if they can't meet you there, it's like, love you, you're amazing, and that's great. But like, we're obviously not meant to be in a partnership, and that's okay. And so being okay with that. How much time are we at? 25 minutes? Oh my gosh. Yeah. And so I think that's been my biggest thing that I've been navigating as of late in terms of relationship is like remaining open while remaining clear and decisive. And I feel like I'm finally figuring that out where it's like, no, when it doesn't meet it, you need to learn to also say no. And that's something where I don't think I've been good at that in the past or like saying it firmly because I'm like, I don't want to cut something off that like could be something. And it's like, what? How are you going to find the thing that's really for you if you're still open to all of these other energies that are not it and you know it's not it because they're not showing you that it's it? Like the thing that's going to be it, you're going to feel it and you're going to know it because they're going to show up as it and it's going to be very clear. But like when you're in the mix of all the people or midst or whatever the word is, it can be hard to actually feel clarity around that because you're like all discombobulated with like emotions and feelings and all the things. Okay. And is there anything else I wanted to say? Let me just think. When it comes to dating, just that I'm like very single right now. And I think I needed to get here to feel full peace and clarity in what really matters to me and what's really important to me and knowing my self-worth and value that like when someone can't see it, they're not for me. Not am I worthy or am I valuable or am I good enough? It's like, no. You are always worthy and good enough. If the other person can't see it, it's because they're not for you. Because the person who's for you is going to see you and be like, whoa, you are everything that I've wanted and dreamed of. And you are like the embodiment of it. And like, I need you, especially a man to a woman. Like they're like, I need you. Like you feel like the thing that is for me. They're going to recognize it. And so I think if ever you're engaging with someone who can't see your value and your worth, it's a no. There's no need to prove it. There's no need to try to show it. There's no need to try to perform it. There's no need to try to get them to know you better. Like if they can't see it, they're not for you. And the way I like to see it now is like you're literally being protected. Like you're not meant to be seen by everyone because then you would have all this shit being attracted to that you need to deal with it. Like you can't. You're too pure. You need to be safe and protected and guarded and And so I think when you actually get that, it's like, no. You're the prize. You are worth it. You're so worthy of all of it. And just knowing that when you meet the right person, they're going to recognize that. There's going to be nothing to prove, nothing to show, nothing to act or perform. They're just going to know. As you get to know each other, that it's like, this feels good. I don't feel like I'm performing for them. I don't feel like I'm acting for them. I don't feel like I'm worried about how I'm being perceived or worried about what they're thinking or if I look good enough or whatever. Obviously, you're going to like care about that at the very beginning when you're going on a date, but like you should feel safe to just be you if you're going to spend the rest of your life with somebody, not like feeling like you need to shift or change. And that should be your first sign. If you're dating or seeing someone that makes you feel like you need to be different than who you are, they're not for you. They're not. You need to be yourself. And I'm trying to think what else. It's really interesting. Like it's so interesting to know, like still all potentialities are out there. Like who knows where I'm supposed to be or like who I'll end up with. I think that's still part of something I care about, obviously, is like, I want that partnership in my life. I desire it. And I just did an episode about like the journey and like enjoying it. And I'm like, but once it's here, it's like, it's here. This person I was so excited about and like, who are they? And like, what is it going to be like? And how's our relationship going to be? It's like, we're just going to be in the relationship. And yeah, it's going to be beautiful and amazing, but there's also going to be the mundane parts where I don't get to sit in wonder anymore. And so rather than like forcing and being excited, like wanting it so bad that you forget to enjoy the journey again, it's like, get lost in the wonder of like the what ifs and be excited about it. like, this is so fun. This is a part of your life where you don't know yet. And when that person comes in, it's like, it's not just going to be easy, especially if you're doing the spiritual work. It's not going to be just easy. It's going to be challenging. Like, you're going to have to face parts of yourself that you've been really good at hiding from other people, where it's like, yeah, it's going to be beautiful and tough when you have to like meet those parts of you in that person. I know that. And so it's like just enjoying the time that I have to connect with me. And something that I'm noticing too that I just feel like is important to mention is anytime you talk with someone, it feels like they're siphoning your energy. So it feels like they're taking more than they're giving. They're also not for you. But for women, so much we like want to give and give and give. But it's like if you're not getting in return, it's not an equal partnership and an energy exchange, and it's not for you. Like if you're constantly giving and giving, like of course they're gonna like having you around. They're getting fed by that with your energy, where it's like, but then you're being left depleted. And something I noticed was like how quickly in the beginning of that last situation where it's like, well, if he lives here, like I'm happy to go there and I'll do this and I'll do that. And it's like, whoa, 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 whoa. I need to be so anchored in what I truly want. Like, yes, I'm open. I don't feel pulled to stay in one place forever. I would move, I would live somewhere else. Like I would do all those things, right? And so it's like I'm open, and it's like be so anchored in the things you know you truly want that you're never willing to waver on the stuff that matters most to you. Um yeah. So what else can I say here? Honestly, that's kind of it. Like that's my biggest new thing that I've kind of uncovered for myself is like this navigating of openness and being decisive at the same time. Being open to all possibilities and potentialities, and being really clear on the things that are my non-negotiables. And instead of like when a guy comes in, for example, and like it's really funny because like a situation happened where I know, like I wrote down the guy who's going to be for me. I literally am the embodiment of his like dream woman. Like I know that he's going to recognize it. He's going to feel it. I know that. And so even in a situation where like, for example, this guy was trying to take me on a date and trying to whatever, do all the things, and not me being like, well, he likes me, so like maybe it's him. It's like, no, if I feel clearly it's not, it's a no, rather than thinking like some guy knows better than me. Does that make sense? Where I think we give up our power a lot as women. It's like, well, maybe he knows something I don't. It's like, no, you know. So just honor what you know. And like, yes, be open. Like, I think it's important to like go on a date and give people a chance and like get to know people because you pick up on different qualities and things like that. But when you know, it's like, no one knows better than you. Like, you know what's best for you. You know what you need. And if you don't, then you should be spending more time getting to know yourself. That's the whole point of being single or like seeing people, so that you can uncover like what is it that you really truly want. And for me, I feel like I need that list, and I want it to be short. I want it to be like condensed, because I have a PPV list. You can go back and listen to that episode if you want, where it's like presence, personality, values, the things that you value the most, the things that matter the most to you about these people, their personality, their presence, their values. And I have tons of things listed that I think are important, because every time I don't list something, it gets missed. But I want my non-negotiables to be so quick that it's an easy check-in with myself to understand like, okay, are these non-negotiables being met? And if they're not, then I don't need to try to get to know if it could work. I don't want to get to know if it could work. I want to know that like it's going to work, because these things are really important. Does that make sense? So as I create this non-negotiable list, I'll share it with you. But I feel like for all of us girlies, we need a check-in where it's like you have 6 to 8 things listed, and it's like those are the core main values and principles. And if those are covered, you're willing to get to know more of them. But if they're not, and obviously you can't know on a first date, like, hey, these are my core 8, like, do you hit them? No, they're going to bullshit you and say that they do. You need to get to know and like look for that. Like, are they meeting those things? And if they're not right off the bat, then maybe give them one more date, but like, you don't need to be willing to see. I think I've been too willing to see in my life, where I'm like, no, I knew, but like, then I fall into a relationship and I'm a lover girl and I'm like, even though, no. So anyways, that's that. It was kind of another ramble. That's how I was feeling today. 2 ramble episodes that you got from me. Hopefully that makes sense. And yeah, just understand truly, for the girls who are listening, like I just think like, don't beat yourself up on thinking that you picked the wrong people. Like, no, every person is perfect. You needed them to learn something about yourself. And there's value in that. Like me learning that when I'm with someone who's crazy avoidant and emotionally detached from themselves and emotionally unavailable, I get anxious. Like, yeah, good thing. Good. Like, I'm glad I got anxious so I could realize, like, whoa, this is not healthy for me. Like, I don't want to be in a situation where that's how I'm feeling every time, you know? It's like you need to feel that sometimes to be like, this is what I do not want. Like, I refuse to be with someone who hasn't worked through how avoidant they are. Cause like, yeah, I could get avoidant maybe in certain situations, but it's like, I'm never fully avoidant. It's just like, give me a sec. And I'm self-aware enough to know how to like maneuver it, if that makes sense. And I'm willing to. I think that's the important part where it's like, if someone hasn't even started, if you're someone on this path and you're listening to podcasts and you're doing the work and you're going to seminars and you're bettering yourself and you have self-awareness around like your patterns and the way that you are and how you lived your life, like how are you going to relate to a human who hasn't done any of the work? How are you going to? You can't. You cannot be someone's hero trying to, if I love them enough, like maybe then they'll start. Like if you're married and you've been in a relationship with this person for a long time, that's totally different. But if they're a new person who's like not doing any of the work, I'm like, we're going to be speaking two different freaking languages. And I don't need to add an extra person into my life that I get to coach. No, I'm good. I am so good. And so that's a non-negotiable for me right there, is like they've been doing the work. They at least have the fundamentals and bare basics down around understanding themselves and their emotional patterns, understanding how they react in relationships and how it stems from their childhood. Like bare minimum, just know the basics, you know? Like, you know that, and like we're on to something because we're going to be in a relationship, we're going to trigger each other, things are going to happen. Like you need to know those parts of yourself so that you understand how you show up in relationship and how you, if you don't even know that yet, what are we even doing having a conversation? So yeah, that's one. So anyways, I would just say that I feel like there's so much I could say, but I feel like I'm saying nothing at the same time. So I'm just going to end it here. I love you guys. Thanks for listening. That's just a little bit about my recent experiences and lessons and things that I've learned about my own relationship and things going on for me. I also want to say, like, every human is a human. Their journey is never complete. They're always on it. They're always learning. They're always evolving. They're always changing. They're always figuring things out about themselves. And just, yeah, like I can know so much and I'm like learning so much and I will share what I'm learning and what I know and what I'm finding. But it's my unique experience. So don't ever think it's the answer for everything. It's my own experience. And, yeah, the last thing I'll say is like I sent a text earlier this week that was really basically saying like, if you can't see what's in front of you by this point, like I just don't think there's any point in continuing this, because I'm like, I feel like a guy would know. And if he doesn't, like, that's okay. But I just think the guy I'm meant to be with is going to be able to recognize that. And it was hard. It was sad. It's like, I don't like to have to like send firm messages, but it was like, it was time. And I feel like it unlocked something new in me for me to be like, no, you can be firm and you can call on the masculine energy within you when you need to be clear and decisive and direct. That's important, and call on your power. You don't need to act powerless just because you're a female and you're looking for a man. And it's funny because I ended up like re-downloading the dating apps like on Hit. I don't know why. It just told me to re-download it in Austin. And I feel like the whole purpose of it now was probably to like trigger a whole reaction that it did cause. But at the same time, I'm like, I think I needed to. And it's so funny because a guy matched me. I changed some of my answers to be way more me. And it's like, no, I am sure. I'm an assured person. I'm pretty direct. I know what I want. Does it make me a man? No, it just means I know how to step into my power, being clear, right? And so it's like, that's part of me. So show it, because the right person is not going to be afraid of that. They're going to actually find it attractive. And it's funny because this business guy was like, guys who are really successful, look for stuff like this. Like there's nothing more attractive than like a woman who also knows what she wants. And I got that reply like literally the next day. And it was like, see, that's so funny because like part of me was afraid to show that side of me that's like, you know, knows what I want. And it's like, no, but the guy you're meant to be with is going to recognize like that's a quality he's looking for. He doesn't want the girl that's like airy fairy, like, da, 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 da. It's like, no, he wants a girl that's on purpose and on passion for her life and knows what she's doing and knows what she wants. Just like he is, because that's what makes you guys a match. So anyways, I'm really still acknowledging, like when they say you mirror, and even one of my guy friends called this out. Sorry, I said I was ending it and then here I am. But I was voice noting with him and I was like, this is also so funny because I've never had guy friends before, because I'm like, any guy you talk to, it's like, are we date? Like, is it leading to dating? And if not, I shouldn't talk to them, because like you shouldn't talk to guys. Only guys that you're going to date, and like other ones you can have boyfriends, right? But I'm like, when are you single? I'm like, I have all these guys that I've met in the spiritual community and like doing Danny's work and like in the mastermind I'm in, and I'm like, they're awesome dudes. And like, yeah, we're chit chatting about experiences and whatever. And so anyways, we were voice noting talking about this, and I remember saying like, and I was acting funny, but I wasn't owning my truth. And so like, of course he retracted too, because I was retracted. I went like this and then he went like this. And of course we went like this, because both of us were like, whoa, weird. And like, neither of us were being 100% honest and saying what we really felt or thought. And so it was just a reflection for me that it's like, you're going to get mirrored with what you're being, and it's going to match. And even though sometimes it feels like, oh, they're being shitty and they're doing that, it's like, yeah, but how are you contributing? Because something you did made them take that action. And it just helped remind me, like, even when it's tough and it feels scary to be vulnerable and open and share your heart, like you have to be truthful and honest, and the right person is going to be able to meet you in all of your truths. And so that's something you should never be afraid of, because if you're looking for the person you want to spend your life with, they should be able to meet you in all of your truths. There should be no parts of you that you feel the need to hide or dim down. So anyways, that's my final thoughts. Thanks so much for listening. Thanks for being here. That's a little update on my life. Keep you posted, because I feel like that was a big shift, and I feel a big shift within me. And so I feel like life shifts are going to happen because of me stepping back into that, because I'm clear and decisive and powerful in every other area of my life. Why would I not take that same approach in dating? Why did I think I had to be someone different? It's crazy. It's crazy. So be who you are, exactly who you are all parts of you. Don't dim yourself. To meet masculine and feminine energetics, be 100% yourself. Are they important? Are they good to understand? Yes. But you don't need to do anything to be more feminine. Like, just be you and heal internally, and you'll be the woman you were meant to be, the walking embodiment of her, and then you will meet the right people in business, in life, in relationships, in all of it. So thank you guys so much for being here. I appreciate you spending time with me. 40 minutes of me rambling out my thoughts, but I feel like when I do this, it's going to help somebody else. So thanks for being here. Send it to your single girlfriend so that they can remember this and be reminded of it. Yeah. And understand, like, you are the one that is worth it. The right man is going to recognize that. So just like keep working on yourself, keep healing yourself. Don't go around sleeping with everybody. Maintain that energy internally, and hold it close to you. And like, again, only give access to people when they've kind of shown that your heart, when they've shown that your heart is safe with them. I feel like that's when we should be sleeping with people, not anytime before. And I get it. We like want to have sex and we want to do things that's like fun. And sometimes you need that. And then eventually when you're looking for the person you're supposed to be with, I think there comes oh my God, a bug just flew in my ear, you guys. There comes a time where you need to buckle down and like stay so in you that like most of your effort and your energy is within yourself. And in that, the right person will come. And I can 100% confirm that I spent a lot of time in my first year or two, like, I wonder where he is. And like, where is he? And I wonder, and like on the dating apps, and like make sure I was on social media. I make sure I was doing things like try to find him. And I'm like, I finally feel this like such a clear focus on myself, my own energy, my own life, that there's no obsession with it. I can only explain it as like divine timing will happen. I believe in God. I believe in source. I believe in the universe. I believe in invisible string theory. I believe in all of it. And I know that like when it's meant to happen, it will. And there's nothing I need to do or worry about, but keep focusing on me doing the things I need to do, taking the steps I need to take to pursue my life forward. And it'll show up in stuff too. So that's all. Thanks for being here. I love you guys. Boop. Talk to you later.